So please get into a good meditation posture. Welcome. We just started, so we're getting into a meditation posture just like we did last night. So legs crossed, half lotus is fine, full lotus is better, but anything that is comfortable for you is okay. Then you can try to put your hands in the lap like this. It's called the Dharani Mudra. The left hand down first, the right hand on top of it. The thumbs gently touching. Then making sure that you're not slouched over, so straighten up your back. You can roll your shoulders up and back so that your scapula, your shoulder blades are in line with the body and not winged, as they call it. Tuck your chin gently into the neck, like this. And then we keep our eyes slightly open. Also, if you normally wear glasses, it's good to take them off. The mouth is closed, but the teeth are not clenched. The eyes slightly open just to allow some light to come in. And then we first scan from head to toe, trying to identify any pockets of tension that might be there. So just mentally check, especially in the facial muscles, around the eyes, around the mouth, cheeks. Letting go of any tension that's there. Then moving down to the neck and shoulders. Breathing into any pockets of tension and then releasing it as we exhale. Continuing down the back. Go down the chest. Around each arm individually. Continuing again with the seat. And going down the legs, all the way to the toes. So a relaxed yet disciplined meditation posture. And then we'll do the meditation on the mindfulness of the breath. So here we'll use the space in the upper lip and nostril, aperture of the nostril area. So as we breathe in and out, put your mind's attention on the sensations in the body, at the space, at the openings of the nostrils. Notice the sensation of the breath passing over the skin in that space. working with the natural breath as it is. Don't try to have a long breath or a short breath, but rather just notice how the natural breath is in the current moment. We can heighten our awareness and clarity by trying to become cognizant of the very split second when the out-breath becomes the in-breath and the in-breath becomes the out-breath. And beginners like ourselves also might find it useful to count the exhalations. So breathe in, and then as you breathe out, mentally note 1. Breathe in, and on the exhalation, mentally note 2, and so forth. Starting over again when we reach 10. If before we reach 10, our mind has become distracted and we lose our object of meditation, then gently, without judging ourselves, bring the mind's focus back to the breath and start over again at 1. If during the course of the meditation other appearances arise in the mind, be they external sounds or internal thoughts, memories, and so forth, then don't pay any attention, don't engage with them. You may note them, note their arising, but if we don't engage, then they will pass away on their own accord in the very next moment. So we'll do this for 5 more minutes. If you are sitting on a chair, then please come up. Don't have your back against the back of the chair, but come up a bit in the seat. That'll help you maintain a straight posture. And since some of us have come in late, we're just meditating on our breath, our natural breath as it is. Noting the sensations in the body at the space of the apertures of the nostrils. So now gently come out of the meditation and bring your awareness back to the room. So, you guys know how to do that meditation by now, right? Alright. One thing to note. Sorry, hi. Have you been here before?
Of course.
Okay. Alright, well, welcome. Okay. I don't want to go over the whole instructions on the meditation we did, but I'll just say this. In this meditation, right, we are just trying to focus on the natural breath as it is, not trying to contrive a breath like certain other pranayama techniques where we try to hold our breath for a certain number of seconds or breathe it in and out of one nostril or another. So as we do that, there's two faculties of the mind we're trying to work on. One is mindfulness. So in this context, mindfulness or sati is the faculty of the mind that holds the object. So in every meditation, there is an object. And in this meditation, the object is the breath. So with about 85% of the mind, we try to focus on the breath. Then another 15% or so of the mind, we're working on the faculty called Sheishin in Tibetan, which we translate something like introspection. So that's kind of the internal quality control of the mind, of the meditation. And what we do with that is, one part of the mind is looking at the mind and checking the quality of the meditation. Are we experiencing scattering of the mind? Are we falling asleep? Are we becoming lax? Right? So in that sense, then when there are obstacles that are arising, right, like mental scattering or mental sinking, we then apply the antidotes. Okay? So the introspection would also cover, our meditation posture. So, hi. What's your name? Malika. So I noticed, sorry, you're in the front, but I noticed toward the end, it's a little bit, like this. And Dipti, you too, right? Maybe you gave up after 3 minutes. But whatever the case, you're right, you don't want to be so rigid when we're doing this meditation about am I still in a good posture? But every once in a while just check. Oh, wait a minute. And then mindfully, kind of correct your posture. Okay? Yeah. Great. So, that's that for the beginning meditation. If you guys wish, there is actually, I've been advertising our YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Yeah. Well, what's that face? So actually, there's a series that Dipti actually helped put together on our YouTube channel, which has this breathing meditation, has the instructions, has a guided meditation, so you can look into that. You did a very good job. Did you edit it as well? It was a very good job. And oh, okay. And those graphics? Oh. Okay. But she was the key grip, right? Huh? The camera woman. Okay. Anyway. All right. Enough on that. So. We are at CKSL now engaging in embarking, maybe is a better word, on a long-term study program. And really, it is the FPNT, the Foundation for the Preservation of the Mahayana Tradition. They have a basic program. But in the basic program, there's 9 modules and 3 supplementary modules, which should be given over 5 years. And although it's called basic, it's actually for people who already have quite a solid foundation within Buddhist thought, and they're trying to take it to the next level. So we're on the first module, which is on Heart Sutra. And the Heart Sutra is, the essence of the entire Buddha Dharma in about a page and a paragraph. Okay? And we were trying to do this. We had set as our goal to do it in 10 classes. And we are now on the 8th class, right? 9. Oh my gosh. So we're going to have to go into extra time, right? And then if we can't finish in the extra time, we'll go to penalty shots. Okay? Sorry, the World Cup just happened, okay? It's just football. Did you watch the World Cup, Subhashini?
Sorry?
Did you watch the World Cup?
No.
Okay. Do you know who won?
Sorry?
Do you know who won?
I think France won.
Yes, that's right. Okay. So, in any case, we're in the ninth class. But we're actually covering a lot of material. So I guess why I'm saying this is, for those who haven't come to the 9 classes, there's the expression, throwing you in the deep end. Okay? So that's what it's going to be like. I'm sorry. So just try your best, and I'll try my best as well. But part of the reason actually why we're we're in the 9th class, and we're about a third done with actual sutra, is because every time, there's a lot of newcomers, and I try to bring them along with us. So I review a lot of things. And therefore I'm just rehashing, I was rehashing a lot of material that I've already gone over.
You go slowly, Venerable. It doesn't matter how many classes it takes.
It does matter. It doesn't matter. Because you see, in the FPMT guidelines actually, they want all of the whole program to be finished in 5 years. Because they say very clearly, if it goes more than 5 years, then people lose interest, people move out of town, So we have to keep at a quite brisk pace. Alright, so let's start in the usual way and do a recitation of the Heart Sutra. Okay.
I'm listening.
Okay, great. So it's on the last page in this blue booklet. Great. The Heart of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, and when I say recite, I mean with your mouth, so make sound, okay? The Heart of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. Thus did I hear at one time, the Bhagavan was dwelling on Master Vulture's mountain in Manchuria, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara: how should any son of the lineage trained who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form, form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, stained, unseized, stainless, not without stain, not fruition, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomena. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including, no mind element, and no mental conscious element. There is no ignorance, and there is no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including, no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, Bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration, without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the endpoint of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in 3 times also manifestly, completely awaken to the unsurpassable, perfect, complete alignment and reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, sincerely, not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Taita om gati gati paragati parasam gati bodhisva. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan rose from that concentration, and then the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of lineage, it is like that. It is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you have indicated, even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan, having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, those surrounding in their entirety along with the worlds of gods, humans, asuras, and gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. Let's leave it at that. Okay, so next, before we delve into the sutra itself and the commentary, I always emphasize that it's important to adjust our motivation. So why are we engaging in the study and practice? But please think in this way, that the purpose of my life is to benefit all sentient beings. And in order to benefit all sentient beings in the best way, I myself must first achieve the highest state of my potential, that of full and complete enlightenment. Then and only then will I be able to offer the maximum benefit to others. And therefore, in order to attain enlightenment, I must train in the causes that lead to enlightenment, which are explained here in this text. And therefore that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to engage in the study and practice and listening in the lecture so that I can learn and then integrate all of the tools and techniques needed to achieve the highest state of enlightenment so that I can be of utmost benefit to all sentient beings. Okay. Sorry, I went over that in quite some detail last night, so I can't go over that again too much today. But that's the essence, yeah. Okay. So, we just recited the Heart Sutra, and there is also in this blue book a commentary written by the great Tibetan master, Tenzin Namjong. What?
Allergic to these flowers?
I don't know. I don't think so. Don't worry, Shandy. The best thing you can do is sit down quietly, pay attention, and realize the meaning in these texts. Okay? And turn off your phone. Or, did you become a cardiologist? Huh? Yeah. Okay. So, how these classes work is I'm going through this commentary word by word, and I'm trying to the name of this text is Jewel Light Illuminating the Meaning, but actually many parts of the meaning of this text are difficult to understand, so I'm trying to illuminate that which is illuminating the Heart Sutra. Okay? And then later, when I'm not here, you guys have discussion groups, and then you guys have to illuminate the illumination of the illuminating illuminator. Okay? All right.
Can I ask a question?
A little bit later. Okay. Okay. So where we are in the text here, this jewel light illuminating the meaning, we're right on the last sentence of page 13. Okay? So just to give a little bit of context, this is what we covered last night, right? So in this sutra, there's first a prologue, which states, where it took place, who is there, okay? Then the Buddha goes into meditation. And then through the power of the Buddha, two of his disciples then have this conversation, which forms the actual basis of the sutra, okay? So Shariputra, who is one of the main, we can say, Shravaka disciples of Buddha, then asked this question to the Bodhisattva Mahasava Avalokiteshvara. And he said, how should any son of lineage train who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom? Okay? So, son of the lineage means one who is abiding in the Mahayana lineage. Okay? And Mahayana, Maha means great. Yeah? Yana means vehicle. So, that motivation that I briefly explained at the beginning of this class is the motivation of a Mahayana practitioner. Okay? In general, in some presentations there are 9 yanas. In some presentations there are 3 yanas. But anyway, yana means vehicle, right? So a vehicle would take someone to a certain destination, right? So this analogy of a vehicle in relation to the spiritual path means that it enables one to arrive at a certain spiritual destination. Okay? When we talk about 3 yanas, then we can also talk about 2 yanas. There's the Hinayana and the Mahayana, the great vehicle and the lesser vehicle. And those have as their destination 2 different kind of goals, right? In the lesser vehicle, or the Hinayana, their goal of their spiritual practice is the attainment of nirvana, or the abandonment of samsara, the uncontrolled rebirth in cyclic existence due to our karma and afflictions, for oneself alone. Okay? Whereas in the Mahayana, what is great about it is the motivation is the wish to free all sentient beings from their suffering, and therefore to set a higher goal, that of full and complete enlightenment. Okay? So now, according to ordinary appearances, Shariputra is a Hinayana Arhat. He has attained the final goal of the Hinayana practitioner. He has attained personal liberation. Okay? So, according to ordinary appearance, Avalokiteshvara is a bodhisattva, which is someone who has as their goal the attainment of full enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, but hasn't yet achieved that state. Okay? But he is training on the path. So, how this sutra is set up is that the Hinayana follower, Shariputra, asks the Bodhisattva, how should someone train who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom? Means, who is practicing the perfection of wisdom but Mahayana practitioners? Okay? So basically he's saying, how does a Mahayana practitioner practice? Okay? Excuse me.
But he is a Hinayana Arhat. Why is he asking the question?
Oh, I'm sorry. Shanti, you have a question? Okay. So, did you all hear the question? I was going to bring this up, which is why I, ask people to raise their hand before asking questions. But in any case, to two things. She said, well, but he's a Hinayana Arhat, so why is he asking that question? Okay, so two things. One is, it's through the power of the Buddha that he's asking this question, right? So, you know, in certain commentaries, it'll talk, you know, Shariputra is often asking questions of the Buddha in the Prajnaparamita Sutras, the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras. Okay? So the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras are Mahayana Sutras. Their intended disciples are people who are practicing the Mahayana path. So part of the significance, some commentaries say, about Shariputra asking is, well, to show that even these you know, great Hinayana disciples, they don't understand all the aspects of the Mahayana path, and therefore have to ask Buddha, right? But another thing that I haven't seen explicitly in a commentary of the Heart Sutra, but you know, there's two names for these Shravakas, right? In Tibetan, it's Nyen Tu, right? And then the other one is Tu Dro, right? Okay, so, sorry, it's for the Tibetan speakers. But, okay, Nyen Tu, right? Nyen basically means, right, they call it a hearer, okay? Hearer, we translate in English. So, they hear the Buddha's teachings. And then, even though they don't practice it themselves, they can explain it to others, okay? So here, even Shariputra, if he comes across someone of the Mahayana lineage, he can explain the points about how to practice the Mahayana, right? Even though he doesn't practice it himself. Okay? Yes?
But does he understand it? I mean, okay, or is it just words?
Well, I
Just
teach.
because if he
I'm not a Mahayana practitioner, right?
No, I know, but to teach one needs to know, right? Not just know information. Does that mean that he's actually a Mahayana practitioner?
Okay. So Dipti is getting into some debates here, but I'm not gonna, you know, take that on fully. But let me just say this, okay? It is clear in the text, in particular, the Majjhimika Avatara and its own commentary by Chandrakirti. It is clear that these Shravaka practitioners, right, they do hear the teachings of Buddha and they do then explain to others, right? Of course, in order to be of maximum benefit, you need to, of course, understand it and realize it fully yourself. But if it was the case that until you had full realization, you couldn't then teach to others, then, you know, I wouldn't be here, right? Right? So at the beginning, remember, we had as our motivation to attain full enlightenment so that we can be of maximum benefit to all sentient beings. But even before we're fully enlightened, we can benefit beings somewhat, right? I did mention last night, Dipti, that in some presentations, even in this commentary, it says that in actuality, Shariputra is an emanation of the Bodhisattva Savarana Vishkambin, right? And in other presentations, it says that all the disciples of Buddha were actually emanations of the Buddha himself, okay? But in the Serje monastic textbook, when it talks about the teachings, it says that even people who haven't entered the path can have bodhisattvas as disciples, right? So in general, in order, in the qualities of a Mahayana guru, right, explained in the Mahayana Sutra Alamkara by Maitreya, it says that the teacher should have more qualities than the disciple, right? But there could be many different objects of knowledge, right? So you could have a, like it says, the great Indian master Vasubandhu, he had 4 disciples that surpassed him. Vasubandhu was known as the second Buddha, but yet he had 4 disciples. But, for example, Papa Jolde, Arya Vigmuktisena, yeah. He was Vasubandhu's disciple, but he surpassed Vasubandhu in relation to the Prajnaparamita. Okay. Then Dignaga surpassed him in relation to logic and epistemology. Shiramati, or Lodro Tempa, I know it's Tibetan better, yeah. Lodro Tempa, he surpassed him in terms of Abhidharma. And Gunaprabha surpassed him in terms of Vinaya. Okay? Anyway. Okay. So what was I saying before I was got off on that track? Shariputra, yes. Shariputra asked that question to the Bodhisattva Mahasabha, Arya Avalokiteshvara. And yeah, those are the 2 reasons. So then, Shariputra's answer, then there's a short answer and then the long expanded answer. Okay? So in the short answer it says, Shariputra, any son of lineage or daughter of lineage who wishes to train the profound activity of the perfection of wisdom should correctly and repeatedly behold the 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Okay? That's the short answer. Okay? So, then we just ended last night with this sentence. According to the Prasagikas, inherent establishment is the object of negation of reasonings analyzing the ultimate. Hence, even though the qualification ultimate is not affixed explicitly to the object of negation, it is affixed implicitly. Therefore, it is of definitive meaning and is literal. Okay? So, we had the question then last night, does this qualification ultimate need to be affixed to the object of negation, full stop? Okay? So again, since there's some new people here, the object of negation of a reasoning analyzing the ultimate. Okay? So basically, for now, we went over this in some detail last night, but there are these 2 levels of reality: conventional reality and ultimate reality. Conventional reality is everything that we normally conceive of in the world, and all those who are untrained in philosophy, what they would accept. Okay, so tables, cups, books, right? You, me, all exist on a conventional level. Then, ultimate analysis will then take as that basis an existent phenomena, and then ask, how does the cup exist? Okay? Does it exist from its own side? Does it exist objectively? Does it exist independently? How does it exist? Okay? So then, this reasoning consciousness analyzing the ultimate status of phenomena, okay, will negate or refute a mode of existence that is impossible and fantasized. Okay? So here, inherent establishment, inherent existence, is the object of negation of reasoning analyzing the ultimate, according to the Prasagikas. Okay? So in the Prasangika system, inherent establishment doesn't exist. So this reasoning consciousness analyzing the ultimate will analyze and check if the basis, the cup, for example, if that exists inherently or not. At the end of a process of reasoning, inherent establishment is refuted, and therefore the cup is ascertained to lack inherent existence. The lack of inherent existence of the cup is the ultimate nature of the cup. Okay? Therefore, on every phenomena that is existent, we have the conventional nature, the cup itself, and its conventional nature would be, able to hold water, solid, whatever, That's the conventional nature of the cup. And then the ultimate nature of the cup is its lack of inherent existence. Okay? We'll talk a little bit in a few minutes about what inherent existence means. But just understand that according to Prasangika, inherent establishment is the object of negation. Okay? Alright. So now, we have this from last night. Even though the qualification ultimate is not affixed explicitly to the object of negation, it is affixed implicitly. Okay? So what would something, what does it mean to be explicit? Explicit would be if it's actually uttered, right? So in the words of the Heart Sutra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aryavajkteshavara, looked upon the five aggregates and saw that they were also empty of inherent existence. Okay? It says that in the words of the sutra. It doesn't say the Bodhisattva Mahasattva beheld the five aggregates and saw that they were also ultimately empty of inherent existence. Okay? So, it's clear that the qualification ultimate is not affixed explicitly to the object of negation. Okay? But it is said it is affixed implicitly. Okay? So then the question came up last night. Is it needed? Why would this author say that is affixed implicitly? Okay? Because the doubt came up, right? If you were to ask me, yeah, oh, Namjong, do you have, a Rolex watch? Right? And I say, oh, not here. Right? Then wouldn't I be implying that I have one somewhere else? Right? So in a similar way, if we say, oh, things don't ultimately exist inherently, and there's a dichotomy between ultimately and conventionally, would we be implying that, things exist conventionally in an inherent way? Yes. But the thing is, see, in the Prasangika system, inherent existence doesn't even exist conventionally. Okay? So, that's the doubt that I left you guys thinking about last night. And did you think of it? Okay. Huh?
Yeah, I think he's following the Swatantrika Madhyamika because this is a Madhyamika Sutra, so it can be interpreted either in the Swatantrika Madhyamika way or the Prasangika Madhyamika way, right?
Keep talking. So then?
The Swatantrika Madhyamikas would need it to be affixed because they hold that inherent existence is conventionally existent.
Okay, you're warm, right? So, but here's the thing, right? in the previous sentence, he's saying, according to the Prasangikas. So in general, is this commentary? Okay, sorry. Ayo. When we start talking about Prasangika versus Svachandika, some faces just go blank. Alright. So I can't bring you guys totally up to speed, but okay. The Madhyamika tenet system in Buddhism has two branches, Svachandika Madhyamika and Prasangika Madhyamika. Okay? Alright. So the Svachandika Madhyamika hold that inherent existence exists conventionally, but not ultimately. The Prasangikas say that inherent existence doesn't exist even conventionally. Okay? But both of them will accept that the Heart Sutra is a sutra written by Buddha, or composed by Buddha, and they'll hold Actually, this is another problem with what you were saying. The next sentence, therefore it is of definitive meaning and is literal. Okay? So do the Svachandika Madhyamika accept it as being definitive meaning and literal? Okay.
No, I mean.
No.
No.
There's just no. No, right? So, again. Does anyone know what the definitive meaning means in these schools?
Subject matter is ultimate reality in Prasangika Madhyamika. Primary subject matter. And in Swatantrika Madhyamika means the primary subject matter is ultimate reality and it can be taken literally.
Okay. And in the mind-only school?
Whether it can be taken literally or not.
Okay, great. So, yes. You got that? In general, there's 4 tenet systems within Buddhism. We're talking about the higher 2 now. The Chittamatra, or the mind-only school, and then the Madhyamika. The Madhyamika has 2 further sub-branches. Okay? So for the Chittamatra, for something to be of definitive meaning, it has to be taken literally. Okay? For the Prasangika, it has to be, the subject matter has to be the ultimate nature of reality. And the Svachandika Madhyamika kind of combines the 2. It has to be both subject matter is of ultimate reality, and it has to be taken literally. So for the Svachandika Madhyamika, okay, they hold then that the Heart Sutra is not of definitive meaning because it can't be taken literally. And it can't be taken literally because in the words of it, it says that the Bodhisattva Mahasava Avalokiteshvara beheld the 5 aggregates also being empty of inherent nature. But for them, the 5 aggregates are established by inherent nature. They believe that conventionally inherent existence exists. Okay? Okay? So then, this to me becomes very strange. Right? Because it is the definitive meaning and is literal. Who accepts that? Only the Prasangikas. Okay? And okay, so that sentence is like clear evidence that this commentary has been written from the Prasangika perspective. But then in the previous line it says, even though the qualification ultimate is not affixed explicitly, it is affixed implicitly. But the Prasangikas don't have to affix ultimately, implicitly, explicitly, they don't have to do it at all. Because for them, inherent existence, inherent establishment doesn't exist full stop. No qualifications needed. I don't have a Rolex watch. I don't have it here. I don't have it in Bailakupi. I don't have it on Mars. I just don't have one. Right? No.
So is the problem because of the translation?
So, thank you. So let's check. And that's what the benefits of technology. Oops. Oh no, not that one. See, I kind of don't think it's a problem with translation. Okay. No, that's a fine translation. Tell 왔다 나 란싱기 주바 든 담바리 베가차 임베. Yeah. 임베. 든담기 개발 모두 마자양 등기 자와 송외 니든 자 지신바 예노. Bit of a problem. So, I wonder what this author is getting at. I'm thinking maybe could it be one of the assertions in the Gomang textbook, right? Written by Kuntung Jayan Shenpa, that they have a different assertion regarding this point. But if so, so even among the Tibetan Buddhism, there's different schools, different kind of authors that have different philosophical positions on these points. And the author of this commentary follows a slightly different system from where I study, right? So what we would say is just what I explained to you, right? That for prasanghikas, for something to be a definitive meaning, it has to just be having a subject matter, ultimate reality. Okay? Sachanjika has to be, the subject matter is emptiness, and it has to be taken in a literal manner. So the Heart Sutra is a sutra that is not of definitive meaning, but rather interpretable meaning, because it can't be taken literally. It can't be taken literally because it says that inherent existence doesn't exist, and the Sachanjikas accept that. Shanti.
You have said that according to Swatantrika Madhyamika, Heart Sutra is a definitive sutra. No, it's interpretable.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
According to Swatantrika
Yes.
Madhyamika. But in the lecture by Geshe Dorji, I'm not saying anything, but he says it is definitive meaning, interpretive meaning. Oh, sorry, I'll figure this out. Because there's a difference in what you are saying about Heart Sutra being definitive and interpretive. Either
In Svachanjika Madhyamika.
yeah, he said it's to be interpreted even in the Prasangika system, something like that. Sorry, I'm not clear. The reason wasn't specified. He said you think about it or something like that. But that's what he said. So I'm just saying there might be a different way of thinking in at things.
See, there could be a different way of thinking, but Lama Tsongkhapa is very clear in the essence of eloquence. I don't have it here. But at the beginning of the whole Madhyamika section, he's very clear on this. So it would be very surprising, although there's different monasteries with different textbooks and authors, and there are some differences, on this point, since Tsongkhapa is so clear about it, it would just, I would be flabbergasted, which I am now. I mean, I can't spin what Tenpa Rampa is saying here, you know? So I will actually ask my own teacher on this point, because I'm at a loss for words. Okay? I would, yeah. Yeah,
I just want to complete the sentence. Right?
please.
To have a prasangika, to have a definitive meaning, the subject matter has to be empty.
The explicit subject matter has to be emptiness,
Emptiness.
ultimate nature. Okay?
And the other one?
And Svachantika, it has the subject matter, explicit subject matter has to be emptiness, and it has to be suitable to be taken literally.
So they're both emptiness.
Yes. So you understand? Svachantika Madhyamika, okay, like the first, what do we say? Okay, there's one Vinaya Sutra that then says, you know, monks should wear their lower robe evenly. Okay? So that's to be taken literally. Okay, but it's not definitive meaning because its subject matter is an emptiness. Right? No, it's just true. This is the example, you know, that they give. There's those two factors need to be there. In which system? Svachantika Madhyamika. Okay, thanks. Alright. Okay. So now we get to the yeah, okay. Ah, where are we? Oh, okay, good. Okay, so now we're at the first part of the long answer. Okay, form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. The probably most enigmatic of the Heart Sutra. Okay? So let's look. When form is emptiness, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form, form is also not other than emptiness, is understood in a coarse way, according to the Chittamatras. It means this appearance of form is one's own mind, which is empty of the duality of subject and object. One's own mind is the appearance of form. One's own mind is not other than the appearance of form. The appearance of form is also not other than one's own mind. Okay? So, page 14. The very top of 14. I did the last sentence of 13 and now 14. Okay. So, in general, right, we have the Chittamatras, and the Chittamatras actually hold that the we have the 3 turnings of the wheel of Dharma. Sorry. The first turning of the wheel of Dharma now has as its explicit subject matter the Four Noble Truths, and we're not talking about that. We've talked about that in some detail before. But the second turning wheel of Dharma, these Prajaparamitas are in the second turning wheel of Dharma. And the Chittamatras hold that the second turning wheel of Dharma actually shows or explains the ultimate view. Right? But these second turning wheel of Dharma sutras aren't to be taken literally, so they're not of definitive meaning. But they have to be interpreted in another way. But how they're then interpreted shows the ultimate view according to their system. Okay? So, without getting into too much detail, in the second turning of the wheel of Dharma, okay, sorry, let me go on. Then the third turning of the wheel of Dharma, okay, basically is in this one sutra called the Sutra Unraveling Your Thought. And in that, one bodhisattva then asks the Buddha, hey, in the first turning of the wheel of Dharma, you taught that all phenomena have inherent existence. In the second turning of the wheel of Dharma, you taught that no phenomena has inherent existence. The Buddha is without contradiction. So what did you mean when you said in the first turning of the wheel that all phenomena have inherent existence, and what did you mean in the second when you said none of them have? Okay? So in that, then the Buddha says, when I said all phenomena, actually he doesn't talk not inherent existence, but he says wo ni mepa. So lacks, how do you say, like entityness. You know, when I said all phenomena lack entityness, I was doing that thinking of the 3 natures. Okay? So for the other powered phenomena, things that arise due to causes and conditions, you know, it means that they, you know, don't exist without arising due to causes and conditions. Okay. Anyway, then the okay. In the third turning wheel of Dharma, the Buddha then clarifies, according to the Chittamatra system, what he means by all phenomena lack entityness. Okay? And that entityness that is lacking differs for each of the 3 natures. Other powered nature, thoroughly established nature, and thoroughly imputed nature. Okay? Maybe that's good enough for our purposes now. We're not getting into the mind-only school in much detail. Okay? But the point, which is important for us now, is that they will hold that this Prajnaparamita Sutra teaches the ultimate view, right? But they will then interpret the words to their own system, okay? So rather than, all phenomena lacking inherent nature, they say that all phenomena lack a certain type of nature, but they divide it into three. Okay? Basically that, phenomena that arise due to causing conditions, they don't arise except for having those causing conditions. The phenomena that are, emptiness, they lack, how do you say? I don't want to get into that right now. Okay. Anyway, so they differentiate with those three natures. Okay? Alright. So here, now, this four profundities, now Tenda Larampa is explaining due to the Chittamantra school. Okay? So for them, the ultimate nature is that the subject and object are empty of being different substances. Okay? So when they say form is emptiness, they say that the appearance of the form is one's own mind. Doesn't really mean that. It's not that the form is one's own mind, the appearance of form is one's own mind, but rather is not a separate substance. Okay? So what does this mean now? In all the other, okay, normally how we think about things is that there's a cup, which is an external object. This external object then is perceived by our eye consciousness, but they're different substances, right? So the mind-only school refutes this. They use the example of a dream. And in the dream, we might have an appearance of a house, but there's no external house out there which is causing that appearance to the mind, right? There's only the dream consciousness and the appearance of the house to that. Okay? So those are not different substances. So in the same way, the mind-only school asserts that even in our waking life, the appearance of the form is not separate from, is not a different substance from the mind perceiving it. Okay? So the appearance of form is one's own mind, which is empty of the duality of subject and object. Okay? Then the appearance of form, okay, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Yeah? The appearance of form is also not other than one's own mind. I skipped a sentence. The appearance of form is one's own mind, which is empty of the duality of subject and object. One's own mind is the appearance of form. Okay? So emptiness is form. Yeah? One's own mind is the appearance of the form. Right? They're not separate. Right? So it's like this. Sorry, I know I'm being a little bit muddled. Okay. So, if the emptiness of the mind is the lack of duality between subject and object, the emptiness of the object is also that same duality. Okay? In other words, the mind apprehending the cup, okay, is not separate substance from the cup. The lack of the mind apprehending the cup and the cup being, separate substances is the emptiness of the mind. And that very same emptiness is the emptiness of the cup. You understand? Yeah?
The emptiness of the cup is equal to the emptiness of the mind.
Equal to...
There are no two different
Maybe.
emptinesses.
Yeah. Yes, you could say that. It's the same thing. Okay? You understand? So that form is emptiness, emptiness is form. That's how they explain it. Okay? One's own mind is not other than the appearance of form. Okay? So here, it's like, you can't posit a mind kind of devoid or separate from its object. Everything that is a mind has an object. Okay? So form is not other than emptiness, emptiness is not other than form. Okay? The appearance of form is also not other than one's own mind. Okay? Understand? Alright. According to the Prasangikas, it means because something appears as form, it does not exist. Here we have to say inherently. Okay? Because something appears as form, it does not exist inherently. Because something does not exist inherently, it appears as form. Okay? So this is not a kind of logical pervasion. Because everything that doesn't exist inherently doesn't appear as form, right? But rather, it's like the statement in the Mula Madhyamika. For those for whom emptiness is feasible, everything is feasible. For those for whom emptiness is not feasible, nothing is feasible. So because phenomena lack inherent existence, in other words, because they lack an independent existence, they arise due to causes and conditions. And because they arise due to causes and conditions, they lack inherent existence. Okay? So, if things had inherent existence, that means they wouldn't depend on anything, any other phenomena. And therefore, that would imply a static nature. Okay? You understand why? If there was an inherent cup, that means it wouldn't have to depend on any other factor. That means it wouldn't have to depend on its causes and conditions to arise. That also means that, even if we took a hammer to it, we couldn't destroy it. Because it just exists in its own right, without depending on anything else. Okay? So because phenomena lack inherent existence, then they can arise, they can change. And therefore things can appear as form. Understand that? Alright. The appearance of form itself does not exist inherently, but is not to be sought apart from its non-existence. Okay, I would say like this. Normally when we say, form is also not other than emptiness, that is talking what I was mentioning at the beginning. The object, the basis of emptiness, the cup, is not to be found in a separate place from its emptiness. And the emptiness of the cup is also not to be found separate from its basis of emptiness. Because those two are of one nature. Right? It's like as I mentioned last night, the blackness of my hair is where my hair is. It's not in another place, because they are one entity. So the emptiness of the cup is only where there are cups. And cups are only existing where their emptiness exists. Okay? Since it appears as form while not existing inherently, form does not exist as something separate from that. Yeah, I think that's a better way to explain that. Okay? So I, for one, need a break. So we have some snacks and refreshments.